in theaters. It is directed by Guy Ritchie and stars Jason Statham. They re-team for the first time in 16 years. Wrath of Man is about H, a cold and mysterious stranger who is hired by a cash truck company responsible for moving hundreds of millions of dollars around Los Angeles each week. During one such job, the truck gets held up at gunpoint and H single-handedly deals with the robbers, showcasing advanced combat skills and training. Secretly, H is hunting for the people who murdered his son during a similar robbery, and plans to use his new position to set traps for every would-be robber in the city until he finds his son's killers. I went into this movie like, oh yeah, Guy Ritchie movie. It looks more action-heavy than his previous movies. Trust me, if you're looking for all of the wit, the sarcasm, the offensiveness, everything that makes a Guy Ritchie movie a Guy Ritchie movie, all of those Guy Ritchie movie isms that he incorporates into a lot of his gangster films, even the Sherlock Holmes movies, the King Arthur movie, Man from U.N.C.L.E., Aladdin. Be prepared to be disappointed. This is a Guy Ritchie movie that I was not expecting. No, this is a more dark, grim, gritty, just somber type of movie that I didn't think Guy Ritchie had in him. I still thought it was going to be full of a lot of the wits and a lot of those Guy Ritchie isms, and once you reach a certain point in the movie, it turns into Guy Ritchie isms in terms of how the story is structured, but a lot of those jokes are not here. This is a more serious and grounded approach from Guy Ritchie, and I gotta commend him deeply. He seemed like he restrained himself with this movie. He wanted to make a more grim and dark action thriller, and I think he pulled it off as well as he could. With that being said, this movie feels like it could have been directed by anybody. This feels like a better, yet not too better version of that David Ayer movie, Sabotage. Anything is better than Sabotage. I think one of my problems with Wrath of Man is that sometimes I think even though Guy Ritchie does an adequate job at going down that more grim, dark route with this movie that we haven't really seen him approach before, the movie ends up being a little too hyper-violent, especially in the middle. At the middle, I was just like, this is the least interesting part of the movie for me. The movie is populated by people, not characters, so we get to a certain point in the story where we're focusing on some characters, and I'm like, I have no idea what the hell's going on. I have no idea who Jason Statham is. I have no idea who these people are. I have no idea what they even do. They're just people.
So it's just people.
They're not characters. It's like they're cardboard cutouts. Was that Jason Statham or was that a cardboard cutout? Was I watching a cardboard cutout just like come to life and act? It's a really strange movie because for the first act of the movie, I thought to myself, this is solid enough, you know, I can give this a pass. The third act is explosive. That's where all of the action goes down. A really intense, gritty firefight at the end. And then the middle of the movie is as I said, the strangest part of the movie. It was definitely something I didn't expect, and that's where it got a little hyper-violent, and I just think it could have taken a step back in that regard. Didn't need to go there. The story just didn't need to be structured the way it was structured. Guy Ritchie has this knack for telling a non-linear story. There will be people talking in scenes and they'll be talking about like what they're going to do, and then that'll be intercut with a scene with what they're actually doing in the future. Then it'll be intercut with them going back to them talking about it. That's very present throughout the movie, and at a point towards the end, it bothered me because it felt like when these criminals were going for this heist, they came up with this huge elaborate plan, kept cutting back to the action where they're actually doing the heist, and then that was intercut with them going through their plan. I'm like, how many times are we gonna cut back to this elaborate plan that is really confusing the shit out of me right now? Like, that is the most elaborate plan ever. I have never seen a longer plan in my life in a movie ever. That thing probably took a good 15 minutes of screen time to explain. It's also very hard to figure out what Jason Statham is actually trying to do, and a lot of that is because of his character's murky backstory, if you want to call his character a character. Until the reveal happens, as I've said, his son gets killed. Until that reveal happens, you you don't understand where he's coming from and what his motivations are. And even after that, you don't really understand what his motivations are. I thought that was a huge detriment to the film, but I will give it up for some of the acting here. I mean, Jeffrey Donovan I thought was pretty good as a criminal. Jason Statham was like very stoic in the movie. I don't know what was up with Statham. He was very like quiet in this movie. I don't know. Did he want to make this movie? It felt like he was just collecting a paycheck and was just like,
"Oh, you gotta give me my paycheck. I don't want to beat up people in this movie. Just tell me, okay? Just do it. How much am I getting paid? Just give me the paycheck now."
The most interesting character in the movie by far was Scott Eastwood's character. I thought that this is the best we have seen Scott Eastwood to date. He was by far the most interesting part of the movie, and every time I come back to him, I was like, yeah, more of that guy, please. It is a thinly plotted movie. This has definitely been done millions of times before. Like I said, it feels like Sabotage. It feels like, what was that one with Gerard Butler? Why am I forget what that movie's even called. The Heat ripoff with Gerard Butler. What is that movie? Oh, Den of Thieves. That's it. That blanked on me. I don't know. It felt like a mix of Den of Thieves and Sabotage, because both of them were trying to be gritty as possible, but it's better than both of them. I always love it when a director steps outside his comfort zone, and from what I've seen from critics, they are actually not going too hard on Guy Ritchie on this movie. Usually they don't give Guy Ritchie the benefit of a doubt. I give Guy Ritchie the benefit of a doubt. I think that the guy is a really unique filmmaker, and he's really restrained in this movie. He doesn't bring a lot of his Guy Ritchie-isms to the movie, aside from how the story is structured, in that non-linear plot structure. That's really all the Guy Ritchie-isms you get. This is a more grim, dark, brooding, bloody, hyper-violent Guy Ritchie movie, something I did not expect to see with this movie. There's some fun moments to be had, but the middle of the movie was one of the strangest parts of the movie, and one of the strangest things I have seen all year in terms of trying to move the story along, and I didn't give two shits about a character except for Scott Eastwood's character. Guy Ritchie also does a pre-title sequence and a title sequence similar to a James Bond film. That was a little weird. I don't know what he was going for with that. This is like riding the line between half bucket of popcorn and 3/4 of a bucket of popcorn for me, so I'm just gonna leave it at that. It's like right in between there. So guys, have you seen Wrath of Man? I want some feedback. Drop me a comment in the comment section below. I will leave my link to my website in the description below as well. You guys are the best. Thank you for watching. My name is Alex Madden, and I'll see you at the movies somewhere.